What's up, people? This is the People's Podcast presented by the Wrestling Republic. I am your host, Young Meech, aka Young Twiggy, and my co-host is
Young Twiggy.
Young Twiggy.
This
on the map.
I'm just gonna keep it simple. It's B sleeping in the East and one the only John Wiley.
Yes, sir. And we here for another episode just to give y'all the rundown. We're talking a lot of stuff. Especially going on in the wrestling world. The wrestling landscape is changing, man. You got AEW we're going to talk about with their new signings. We may get a defend this wrestler, because we did talk about that last week, about Bill Goldberg, the GOAT. I said that on purpose because I know John is like the GOAT, but he is one of the GOATs for me. And then we're going to talk about a little bit even about who had the better career, Bret the Hitman Hart or the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. So let us start off with a few trending topics though. But John, I want to hit you with this first trending topic. Man, this may be good news, may be bad news, but WWE 2K22 just announced that next year when the game comes out, they're most likely bringing back GM mode. What's your thoughts on that? GM mode may be making a return finally.
I'm gonna say it like this, man. The two things is create a story and GM mode are the two biggest things they can have to help these games out, man. I think a lot of people are tired of the WWE universe and having time traveling matches and having to fight alter egos, man. Nobody wants to see that. They want to be in control and do the things that Vince McMahon won't do, which is give us these ring matches, give us these, situations that should have happened but did not happen. Hell, I'll have it my way and make sure the Fiend don't ever lose a match. But I'll say it like this. I just hope it don't come out and they forget the program an extra month. Let's hope the game's actually good.
Man, my first thoughts was like, about damn time. Quoting LeBron James. Man, because what? Man, I've been calling for GM mode for years. Why did they shouldn't even ever took it out the game when you talk about the SmackDown versus Raws? That what made those games classics to me when they added GM mode. And then as years went on, they started changing it up and then no GM mode. It makes perfect sense to be GM mode because I believe, I can't remember what year this was, maybe 2007 when they had ECW, SmackDown, and Raw. Well, now we got SmackDown and Raw and NXT. It's like we need GM mode. We finally get GM mode, but now we don't really have the same wrestling characters. But, they can just add in the legends and whatnot. So we can still make it work.
All we need is just to put in Eddie Guerrero and what's it called? Yeah, just throwing Eddie Guerrero, Edge, and a couple crazy characters. We got a really dope roster.
Shawn Michaels, Triple H. But see, now they got to make Batista a legend. We don't got the Fiend anymore because he's not even with the WWE. I don't know how they gonna do that. We don't got Braun Strowman. I don't know. But they still can make it happen with the WWE legends and the current roster we could still work with and put together some dope matches. Man, I've been waiting for GM mode. So hopefully they actually do right by this. WWE 2K22, putting my hopes in you. You said GM mode, so I expect to see it next year, especially because y'all been pushing back the release date. So y'all gonna push it back, bring GM mode, and then everything's all good. But let us move on to one of the biggest topics, man. Come on. What is your thoughts on AEW? They just signed Adam freaking Cole. They got Daniel Bryan. They already signed CM Punk. Is AEW possibly about to take over the wrestling world?
It's gonna end up like the next WCW. You got all this talent. You better use it right. And judging by the last pay-per-view, they are utilizing them, but we got to see what happens. Because the way I see it with AEW, I'm gonna have to start watching the show more often just so I can get a better grasp of what's going on. But I still think, without a shadow of a doubt, though, they gotta they gotta tighten up. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like a summer beach body pod. You want to tighten it up so you make sure there's no flab anywhere. You know what I'm saying? I still see that when I do check in with AEW, but I will say that the good thing they're doing though is letting their superstars go to other promotions and wrestle. I love it.
I see.
And I think
go ahead.
they're proper competition with WWE. I think WWE should have partnered with New Japan, since you had Shinsuke Nakamura and Tozawa. You should have done it.
I gotta say this. Recently I watched, I believe it's called Rampage, the pay-per-view for AEW. And one of the best matches I've seen on that card, probably one of the best matches, not only on that card, but for sure this year, but that could be in the classics to me. The match between the Lucha Bros and the Young Bucks. It was a steel cage for the tag team titles. Hey man, if y'all haven't seen that match, check out that match. If you're an upcoming wrestler, study that match. They took over, man. When I'm looking at that match, I'm like, just seeing some stuff that AEW's doing, from the signings of CM Punk, Adam Cole, Daniel Bryan. You said WCW. I don't get a WCW vibe, because Daniel Bryan is still in his prime. He could still go, and he wants to wrestle. Like, that's the only reason why he said that he's in AEW, not because WWE treated him bad. He said they treated him amazing and offered him an amazing deal. But he just says he feels that Vince was just a little too overprotective of him because he wants to wrestle. And AEW, they still bleeding over there. They ain't PG over AEW. They cussing in the promos. AEW, they getting busted open. I'm like, Daniel Bryan wants some of that type of like wrestling back how WWE used to be back in the Attitude Era. But AEW, I'm not gonna lie, they starting to try to attracting me a little bit more, because I'm just like, Adam Cole, this man is maybe not even in his prime yet, and he's great. So they're not just signing old wrestlers, they're signing good talent right now. And so we're gonna see what they can do with it though.
Yeah. If Adam Cole becomes all elite, is it confirmed he's all elite right now?
Oh no, yeah, he's all elite. Yeah. He's confirmed. He's not only he appeared on the recent pay-per-view, but he just appeared on AEW Dynamite yesterday. So he's there. And Daniel Bryan.
That's good. And that's the case, then yeah, man, I'm gonna watch it, because I am a big Adam Cole fan. I really do like that dude, man. So good stuff. I think if anything, WWE has to not have such a strong reliance on Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. It's time to build up somebody else, and that should have been Adam Cole. It should be him on the main roster trying to get that belt away from the family, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that actually is a perfect transition to our main topic. What is some of the things WWE should change? Like, because you got AEW, you got all these different promotions, but AEW is starting to seem like they're real competition now. So the question is, what are some changes WWE needs to make to, continue to be that top wrestling promotion? What would you say is some changes they need to make?
Please, for the love of God, stop burying talent. Stop it. Man. You have one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet, and his name is Ricochet, and yet I see him still screwing around. You have Jeff Hardy still in his twilight. You still gotta utilize him properly. It's like, you have all these resources and you're not utilizing it. You got to start using people properly. And I think they're doing a good job with Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns. I feel like the Hurt Business should have been a thing they shouldn't have broken up, and they should have kept them together. And I feel like if you're gonna bring anybody up from NXT, or you're gonna use somebody from NXT, you got to use them right. You got to treat them as well as you protected. You got to protect them like you would protect somebody like a Triple H or a Shawn Michaels, man. Because it's like, there's no point in having a secondary show, a third string show or secondary show, having people watch it and then come to watch the main show only for them to get blinked out of existence. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Man, it's funny. I got notes, because when we came up with this topic, I was like, man, there's so many things I want WWE to change, but I'm gonna start it off with this one, because I've been watching a lot of documentaries lately, and I've been studying the game. I told y'all guys I'm starting wrestling training, so I'm studying the game myself. And one thing I loved about the Attitude Era, one thing I loved about back in the day, and I'm gonna bring up this guy because this is one of the greatest, to me, the greatest superstar of all time, is Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, during his era, he wasn't loved backstage. He was not loved by the wrestlers. He wasn't loved. He was actually hated, probably, if anything, because of how he acted. But this is my point of bringing Shawn Michaels up. I feel like the WWE, they need someone that's going to stir the pot like Shawn Michaels. They need a talent that is not just going to care about being loved by the locker room, because I feel like everything has become too friendly. I feel like it's like, not only is it friendly on TV watching it because it's PG now, it seems like the locker room is a lot more friendly now, and it's not like they're trying to be better than each other almost, to me. Like Shawn Michaels, Attitude Era, they look like they all wanted to be the best, and they all wanted to be better than one another. And Shawn Michaels is the epitome of that to me. Like, he stirred you. Shawn Michaels could be one of the reasons why the Attitude Era even came to exist, along with Stone Cold, along with NWO, DX. But I bring up Shawn Michaels because he stirred the pot. He wanted to be the best. And though though he had problems with Bret Hart, some things probably shouldn't have happened with the Montreal screw job, whatever the case may be.
About Mark Henry. He almost got Mark Henry out of WWE completely.
Yeah, so even with other stuff like that, one thing we can say for sure, Shawn Michaels made the product of us watching that much greater, because he wanted to be the best. And when you want to be the best, the people around you, you give that same energy to them. I don't feel like they got somebody. I feel like WWE needs someone that's going to stir the pot a lot more. Like, Roman Reigns is the guy right now, but I feel like Roman Reigns is loved by the locker room, which is dope, which is cool. That's what you should aspire to be. But I just feel like they need someone that's going to stir the pot, though. I feel like they need someone that's going to be like, forget all that. I don't care if y'all don't want me to do this or do that. I'm not just going to read off the script or whatever the lines. Like, someone that's just going to be like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do to entertain the fans. And I just feel like that's going to bring a different aura with someone that will stir the pot a lot more. What's your thoughts on that?
I think you're right. But the issue is like, WWE is shown around the world, and on top of that, they got sponsors that's literally pumping money into the WWE. And I feel like the biggest issue with that is like, we can't have our cake and eat it type situation, man. So, it's kind of rough. I feel like I wish we can go back in time where, things were less political and you could just get away with saying whatever you wanted, doing wild stuff all the time, because you gave a more like pure experience, because people will either speak their mind or just do stuff that they find funny, that's gonna make it more relatable and likable. Because let's look at Stone Cold's character. Stone Cold was an asshole if you really look at it, and he didn't care about your feelings. I guarantee you, if you gave him an inch, he'll take a mile. He'll hurt your feelings and say all types of wild stuff. I was looking at Bret Hart's career. He was the one that pointed out when Bret was all like, I don't want to wrestle in America no more. He was making it seem like Stone Cold was getting out and making it look like, man, all you do is cry and whine. And I'm just thinking, man, what if we gave Stone Cold, to 2020? Like, man, he'd be tearing people apart and hurting everybody's feelings.
But the great thing about Stone Cold, but see, no, I disagree. That may be a great character in this time, because think about it. The world right now is so sensitive. The world completely is too sensitive right now. You can't say anything without offending somebody. Imagine you had a character out there that said, forget all of that. Like, forgive me for bringing this up to people, but I gotta bring it up. There's gonna be a lot of real. Donald Trump. Why was Donald Trump so loved by most people, even though, like, one reason people say they love Donald Trump is because he didn't seem like he sugarcoated anything. Like, he didn't seem like the regular presidents that kind of just told you what you needed to hear. He seemed like Donald Trump would actually tell you what he believed, even though, like, of course, that stirred the pot. Of course, like, he said stuff that a lot of us ain't going to agree with, but it also made people laugh. It also made people be like, dang, he actually saying what he feels, and that's the president. Most presidents can't do that. The reason why I bring him up is because in such of a sensitive time right now, imagine if there was a character like that really said what he wanted and went against everybody that was so sensitive, against everything that people are sensitive to. it may attract us more to that character and be like, dang, I wish I could say what he said. And he's speaking for these people that want to say what he's saying right now. I feel like a character like that could be embraced, even though he'd probably be hated. He'd probably be loved and hated at the same time. But you need a character like that. That's my point. Because I'm like, everything is too, especially in the WWE. And I've been watching AEW compared to WWE, and I'm just like, WWE got so many just basic characters right now, outside of maybe Roman, Edge, the legends, Randy Orton, and maybe Seth Rollins. Like, every other character is pretty basic. And, you know, I like Bobby Lashley though, so I'm gonna shout out him, but every other character is too basic for me right now.
Bobby Lashley feels like he's like the Triple H template, pretty much. That's the way I feel about him. It's like pretty much he's like, his character turned into it pretty much went from meathead to I'm an elite meathead. That's what he's turned into.
But that's my problem with the WWE. That gives me another point. Everything the WWE's doing now, ever since the Attitude Era, to me has been trying to make superstars like the Attitude Era. Like, they've been looking for the next The Rock, the next Shawn Michaels, the next Stone Cold, instead of just trying to embrace this new era. Like, that's one of the things I wrote in my notes is, what is this era for the WWE? WWE needs to find what's going to define this era. You had, during Hulk Hogan days, that was the glory days. That was during a time where they built up characters to be almost like superheroes, superhuman. And then the Attitude Era was more so like, we're just going to break the rules and we don't care about anybody or anything. And then you had the John Cena era, basically, where you, with Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, you kind of had like, I forgot what they called that era, but basically it was just the ruthless aggression era. We don't know what this era is called right now. They need to find what this era is going to be and kind of mold this era based around that and mold the characters based around that. Because right now, we don't even know what this era is. Like, every era has been called something, was based around something. It's like, what is this era about? They haven't found that yet.
Yeah, because right now we are in PG Part 2. So.
And that's a terrible era right now. If the era is called PG, I don't want to watch it like that. It's like, come on. We went from Attitude, Ruthless Aggression, and now we're in a PG. It's just like, we already went through PG enough. We got to find something that's going to make us watch it. Like, my last point about this is WWE needs to actually recognize AEW as real competition, because I've been seeing that people been like, from the WWE is like, you know, they're doing their thing, AEW's doing their thing, but they don't really recognize them as competition. I'm like, yeah, it's about time that they start recognizing AEW as real competition, because like, that's where you actually have, when there's competition, that's when we get great product. When there was WCW versus WWE, that was during almost, probably people could say, the best era of wrestling, because there was real competition. A business could be put out basically, if depending on the ratings. And so it's like, they got to recognize, like, this is real competition. And if they don't recognize that, years down the line, if AEW keeps being looked at as being that promotion that people want to sign with, WWE is going to start shrinking back a little bit. Even though they're at the top now, they got to start thinking about that.
I think what it is, though, they just, if you want that freedom, I think they should like cut NXT loose and make it into like something that, like, hey, this is because NXT isn't technically under the WWE banner, but our wrestlers are there, they can do what they want. I think that would be like a good like answer to the situation. Yeah.
And I'm gonna play this this audio clip of Mick Foley talking about this, and I just want to get your thoughts on that. He's basically saying WWE is no longer the place where the talent aspire to be at. So I'm gonna play this clip for you real quick.
And Mick Foley, I'd like to title this video, WWE, We've Got a Problem, because I think you do. And that problem is that WWE is no longer the place for talent to aspire to. Part of it is because AEW is doing a great job of attracting great talent, proven talent, building other talent, creating storylines, but part of it is a problem of your own making. I think younger talent sees the way that developmental characters are cut or left by the wayside, or in the case of Karrion Kross, greatly watered down and even made a joke of when they debut on the main roster. It's not broke. Don't fix it. If I was an aspiring talent now, big league talent with a major decision to make, I'm not sure that I would trust WWE Creative to do the right thing with my career. You guys did wonders with me back in the day. That was a different time, different place. Legend Mick Foley.
What's your thoughts on that? Basically, Mick Foley saying the talent nowadays don't aspire to be with the WWE now because creative, the writing, they can't trust WWE that they're going to take care of their character past NXT. Because what have we seen time and time again? Once they move up to the main roster, most of the time they just get destroyed, and then they're off of TV in like a month afterwards. Like, they just built all this up leading up to NXT, and then we're not just NXT, but their careers even before making it to NXT, building up their character just to get thrown away. What's your thoughts on that?
I agree with the NXT sentiment, man. Because I look at the Demon, man, Finn Balor. It's like, look at him, like, seeing how he got treated. It's like to me, he was like a pure wrestler, kind of. And he had the demon persona when he needed it. And then when he got to WWE, they just gave him the jacket and tried to do like a discount Bullet Club kind of gimmick. And I feel like when it comes to Mick Foley, he's always been very vocal about things. So it's like, and it's not translated to what should and should not happen. But I do think he does have a good point. A lot of talent want to go to AEW, and I think they want to do this point just so things can change. They don't want things to be stagnant like how it is now.
Yeah, that's my point too, because it's like, that was one of the main things we haven't even talked about it too much, is the writing. We've done it in other podcasts, but the writing, why would you want to be a talent, an upcoming talent, and you see how like you said, a Finn Balor, but to me, I think Finn Balor may have been treated kind of pretty good compared to other superstars like a Ricochet, or compared to
EC3 or Bobby Roode or Keith Lee.
Exactly. Like, so at least Finn Balor became champion. He became Universal Champion. And then he actually has won the Intercontinental title. He's been in the kind of the main event picture at different times. But those other guys, Ricochet is the worst one to me. That man went from, I was watching him in NXT and I was just like, this guy is on a whole nother level. Then when I heard him when he got moved up to the main roster, I was like, WWE has someone that can really become a superstar on the main roster. And I was even talking about an Adam Cole. I was talking about Velveteen Dream. I was talking about Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Wrestling. I was like, they got some stars that can go up to the main roster. Then I seen Ricochet get dogged like that. I was like, what? I can't believe it. I can't even believe it.
Remember Ricochet versus Brock Lesnar? Remember how that went?
Just Ricochet versus anybody right now. This man gets either ragdolled or he's not even on the show. It's
weird because they got like a lot of dope cruiserweights they can use, and they can really build up a dope cruiserweight kind of thing going on. Like, if anything, if I was in control of WWE, it would be Mustafa Ali, Cedric Alexander, and before they released Buddy Murphy, it would have been Buddy Murphy, all going battling for the Intercontinental. It would have been dope.
Yeah, like they have that, man. WWE's got to find what's going to define this era. They got to build up these characters better. They got to improve their writing, because a lot of these wrestlers that's been going to AEW, most of them have been talking about the writing. CM Punk left the WWE. Most of it was because he didn't like how they would bring back these legends, i.e. Goldberg, and then for a wrestler like him that was full-time, he'll be wrestling all year round. Then around WrestleMania season, he'll have to drop the belt to a legend. And then it was just like, he doesn't even get that main event moment. He didn't like the writing. It's just like most of these wrestlers nowadays, Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose, AKA, didn't like the writing. He didn't like that. It's just like WWE got to figure it out. They got to figure it out. They got too much talent back there. Like, you got a Paul Heyman. What? I know Paul Heyman can't be doing this type of writing. Paul Heyman's too good at cutting promos. Like, he got to know that.
Let's not forget, Paul Heyman had his own business, and and his biggest thing was just letting people do them at the best of their ability, or maximizing them at the best of their own ability. And I know this is why Paul Heyman doesn't get put in bad storylines. I've noticed they keep him pretty much in a good situation at all times.
That's what I'm saying. So it can't be Paul Heyman, and I couldn't blame Triple H because NXT was doing great. Like, I don't know what's going on. And I think they said right now Vince McMahon is actually about to start running NXT at the moment, because I think Triple H is going through, he just went through a surgery or something like that.
Yeah, health issues.
Yeah, so that's why Triple H probably not running NXT. I was wondering about that too, because I was like, dang, they just moving Triple H out the way. And then I heard about his health issues, so I hope Triple H will be all good and he can make a return, run NXT, and hopefully actually run the whole business, because he seemed like he knows what he's doing. So right now, I don't know. Vince may be a little outdated. I ain't gonna lie. Something going on. I don't know. It may, to me, I have a feeling, like you said, it has to do with all the other businesses that are tied to the WWE that makes them have to be PG, but they got to figure it out, because AEW is not PG. Upcoming talent is not going to want to be supervised like this. They going to want to go to AEW if you got that option where they can have creative freedom, say what they want, and build up their character the way they want to do it, compared to WWE kind of squashing them. So they got to figure it out. They gotta figure it out in a soon time. But do you want to defend this wrestler, man? Do you want to put Goldberg on the map right now? Because we already talking about legends coming back, and he's been the main legend making his comeback all the time now.
Oh, hey, man, since we're at it, man, let's just talk about the guy who's coming back to not do a damn thing, a.k.a. Bill the Trash Goldberg, man. Let's talk about this place. Just trash, man. How do you defend this clown, man? How? No, seriously, answer me, because I'm looking at this man every week, because I'm slowly watching a lot of WCW wrestling. Pretty much, this man is a pretty much one-for-one Stone Cold Steve Austin. His whole gimmick was, I'm supposed to be the badass to come in and walk in and beat everybody up and leave. But then you realize something. There's no substance. He can't barely talk on the mic. He can't do anything right. And then you want him around your top talent when he injures them? Bro, who wants Goldberg, man? Who likes Goldberg, man? How? And then it's
do-doom.
God damn. It's like this. I say the best thing about Goldberg's is entrance. Once he gets in the ring, it all goes downhill, man. I look at Goldberg, I'm like, man, Edge gave me a better spirit than you, bro. There is nothing favorable about you, bro. And it's like you could have done so much more with this character of Goldberg, but instead, what do? We let this man get jumped, and then what? Give the belt to Kevin Nash just so he can give it back to Hogan? Bro, it was a clown show. And then you went to WWE. You took the belt from The Rock, if I'm not mistaken, and did nothing. God dang it, man. And then on added notice, it's bro, I think Goldberg be meatheading it up too much, man. He breaks his own hand in the middle of his own promo. How do you do that, bro? And then on top of that, let's talk about when he faced what's it called? Undertaker, Oldberg versus Eldertaker in the middle of the desert, man. God dang it. He could have taken out your favorite wrestler, The Undertaker. He could have essentially eliminated him, written his name in the death note,
eliminated,
deleted. That was one of the worst. How do you injure yourself? Oh my god, man! I just don't get it, man. That was a horror show, man. Because I remember I watched that just so I can see what's going on with WWE. Because I was getting emotional. I was like, Goldberg should never step in the ring again, man. Never. God dang it! And then just to put the cherry on top, man, he was the man to eliminate Bret Hart. I understand Bret doesn't hold no hard feelings or grudges about it, but I do. Because god dang it, man. It just shows that this man is nothing but an unsafe clown show ready to happen. And the fact that people like him is crazy to me. And every time I watch I was never a fan of Goldberg, man. Ever. And then I even got to talk to my stepdad about Goldberg. Man, I found out the streak was inflated. Found out they were pumping in noise for this man. And then I found out they were just handing out free merch for the dude. They were trying to artificially create a Stone Cold Steve Austin, but with none of the technical talent or the mic skills. You just had pretty much an athlete out there who can barely be an athlete. Congratulations, you played yourself. God dang it, man. Now defend Goldberg. Give me a Goldberg match. Give me something that makes Goldberg.
Let me play this for you first. Come on now. Let me play.
No, don't play that clown ass freaking theme song. Oh man, he did. There we go.
Then they knock on the door, John. That intensity builds up. He busts through the door.
He needs the police force to come out and escort him. Jesus Christ.
He busts through the door. Matter of fact, I'm gonna talk about Goldberg with the theme song playing in the background. Actually,
God, here we go.
Just bring it in. Just breathe it in. He brings the intensity. Goldberg brings intensity that nobody can ever match in the history of wrestling. Goldberg's intensity is on a whole nother level. You talked about Edge's spear? Edge spear? Come on now. He ain't got no spear like Goldberg. The Goldberg spear, this man was decapitating people. This man was taking people out. That was a spear from the NFL. Goldberg is on another level. Now, I'm not going to talk about the Goldberg nowadays, because Goldberg nowadays, he's inspiring his son. I'm talking about the Goldberg I grew up watching in the WCW. That Goldberg was the man. That Goldberg, come on now, the entrance, that is one of the greatest entrances of all time. Come on now.
All style, no substance.
Like, come on now, the man is getting hit by pyro. Like, what are we saying right now? Can you stand in the midst of pyro and get hit? Can you stand in the midst of pyro and get hit? Can you do that? Goldberg would come out there and he would just establish a different intensity level. Now, the man, I can't say that he's had the greatest matches of all time. Okay, Goldberg, I'm turning down the music. I can't say that he has the greatest the greatest matches of all time. But people don't talk. I mean, I actually like that first run with the WWE. You said he beat The Rock. I think he beat Triple H a couple times. During that time, the Elimination Chamber got introduced. And that one of the first maybe that was the second Elimination Chamber with
RVD, Kane, and Shawn Michaels and Triple H were in, because this was the return of Shawn.
Yeah, that was the first one, but the second one, I can make an argument that that's the best Elimination Chamber match out of all the Elimination Chambers in history, because Goldberg, I think he speared Chris Jericho through the glass. I remember Goldberg just came out wrecking havoc, and he was supposed to win that match, but you had Evolution still. You had Evolution stopping Goldberg from getting over. I actually like that time with Goldberg. He ended up eventually beating Triple H, becoming the heavyweight champion. Goldberg, he didn't have the best match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, but then they rewrote that because he came back and then he fought Brock Lesnar again. He rewrote his wrongs. Now, the Undertaker one, man, that one was a little bit disappointment, but we ain't going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the good times with Goldberg.
Or we can talk about how he squashed the Fiend and then did nothing with it.
Oh.
You do that, I'm more than happy to do that.
Oh, see, now when you bring up the Fiend, that goes back to the changes again. WWE need to make some changes with that one. Now we ain't even got the Fiend no more, but Goldberg, we still got Goldberg though. That's all we need. That's all we need. We ain't got the Fiend no more. We ain't got Braun Strowman, but guess what? We still got Goldberg. We still got Goldberg. Now I will defend Goldberg to the end, because that man, I grew up watching Stone Cold was my favorite wrestler in the WWE, and Goldberg was my favorite wrestler in the WCW. Goldberg was, man, you know how many times I would just get intense? I'll get hyped up. I'll get motivation watching Goldberg. Come on now. Goldberg, there got to be some Goldberg fans out there, some real ones.
How about this, man? I need you to give me 2 good Goldberg matches that don't count, that don't have Diamond Dallas Page in it, and I'll sit there and wait and watch them with you, because I don't think he really does have a good match.
We still may end up getting another good Goldberg match.
You know what's funny though? I got the match to take some time and just go scour the internet just so I can go find Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar part 2, because I hadn't seen it.
Part 2 was actually pretty decent. I mean, it was,
because I remember he steamrolled Brock in 2 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of ridiculous because Brock was steamrolling everybody else in that similar amount of time. And then, how long was their match at Mania?
I think that one was about 10, 12 minutes or something like that. That match was actually probably Goldberg's best match since, like, during this time of him coming back. Like, that was probably his best match, because that match actually, they did it right. Like, they did it right. Like, Goldberg spears him through the barricade. Brock, there's actually some good moments in that. Like I'll give that match actually ain't bad. That one's better than the first one for sure. And then that's probably his best match since he's come back, actually. So you could check out that one. That one ain't bad. It ain't as like quick as when he steamrolled Brock too. So that one I definitely would recommend. I mean, I can't say it's a great match, because I mean, my standards of great matches is like Seth Rollins versus Edge at SummerSlam. Like, now that's a great match. Like, but Goldberg gives you good moments. I don't know if he gives you great matches. He gives you moments that you're gonna remember.
So we can say it like this: he's there to entertain you, and he's really good at entertaining people.
Mm-hmm. Come on now.
I guess
you're next. Come on.
Yeah,
now.
on the injury list, you're damn right.
Hey, but he gonna take you out nonetheless. He gonna take you out. That's what his job was. Goldberg's job was to come in there, was to take names and keep on moving and become champion. Get people intense, get people hyped up, spear a couple people, jackhammer a couple people, and get up out of there. And that's what he's still doing to this very day. He's still doing it. Hey, I can't wait to see if his son gonna really commit to being a wrestler. His son gotta get stronger though, if he gonna follow Goldberg's steps.
I do like about Goldberg. He actually does run a gym down here, somewhere around here in Atlanta. You know, he's actually helping people train and get nice. I would like to see his son make like a name for himself. I'd rather him go to USC and, you know, get a couple wins under his belt and then come to like the WWE or AEW or Ring of Honor, you know, do his thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But shout out to Goldberg, man. You're next, John. So you better watch out, because you may end up getting speared through like a little grocery store if you see it.
Man, I was two-step and electric slide right out the way, man. He's gonna just end up on his own little obituary.
Two-step.
Hairline Goldberg. He couldn't hit this man.
I want to see you two-step. All right, but let's move on to the last topic, man. Who had the better career? Bret the Hitman Hart, we're speaking of Goldberg, sadly, or Kurt Angle?
I'd say Kurt, due to the fact that, excuse me.
Oh, I was about to say, whoa, Kurt, really?
I got them mixed because I'm still thinking. Anyways, I was gonna say Bret, due to the fact Bret, you can literally learn how to wrestle from Bret due to the fact he put athleticism and pretty much storytelling in pretty much first before anything else. Bret was never the biggest guy, but he was the guy you looked up to and that you wanted to aspire to be in wrestling. And my favorite things about him was he could virtually have a good match with damn near anybody. And I'm like, you know, I love Kevin Nash. I love me some Kevin Nash, but it's like Kevin Nash don't got a lot of great matches. But one of his best matches ever happened in the ring with Bret Hart. And on top of that, Bret Hart as an athlete is dope, man. It's like you pay attention to him. Dude was nimble. He was quick. He was athletic. He was like, man, it's like the best way I can say it. It's kind of like, what if, like, you know, we had like a brawling Spider-Man? That's what Bret Hart kind of reminds me of, because he could do a lot of crazy stuff in there. And, you know, you can see his athleticism put to the max in matches in the WWE earlier when he's tagged up with his, it was his brother or his cousin? Janir?
I think that's his cousin, actually, yeah.
Yeah. And then And then you can see technical masterpieces happening with him when it comes to his brother Owen in WrestleMania. Yeah. And then on top of that, if you want to get like, deeper into the Bret Hart lore, there's a match on WCW. It's a Bret Hart versus Chris Benoit Owen Hart tribute match. Watch that match because it's really good for technical wrestling. And that's one of the things that I feel like with Kurt. Kurt is a dope entertainer, and on top of that, the thing about Kurt that I love about him is when he was Perk Angle, he could do anything and have a high energy, high intensity match, and there was nobody that could really quite do it like him, and that's what made him special. And on top of that, when he transitioned from the WWE to TNA, it was still a gold mine of matches that you got from Samoa Joe, you got with his stable, and then you got his matches with Sting. You got anything and everything you wanted from Kurt Angle when you got TNA, man. And that's the thing I like, because he put everything on the line, man. Perk Angle, that is. Yeah. Jumping from the top of the steel cage just to hit nobody sometimes. Perk Angle is the GOAT. That's the true GOAT right there. But then when you compare him, and I think the fact of the matter is like this. I believe that Bret Hart is the better wrestler and he had the better career due to the fact he can wrestle with anybody. And then on top of that, on a fundamental level, when you look at him wrestle, it's like, bro, you're gonna come out learning something and becoming better than what you were when it comes to like studying Bret Hart and seeing him do things. If anything, you know how we look at Mount Rushmore, like the wrestling Mount Rushmore, Bret Hart has to be on there.
Yeah, for sure.
He's pretty much like the guy for like, it doesn't matter what your body type is, as long as you can put on a good match, you're there and willing.
And then I just want to
tell me though.
I was gonna say this though. I think Jim Neidhart was his brother-in-law actually. I think it was his brother-in-law. But I was thinking about this pretty deep, and I'm gonna have to go Bret Hart though too. So I can't. This one ain't gonna be controversial. It's not gonna be I'll go Kurt Angle. I agree with you. I was watching a Bret Hart documentary recently, and I was just like, this man Bret Hart was on a whole nother level, man. Kurt Angle didn't reach that level to me. Kurt Angle was amazing, had an amazing career, Hall of Famer for sure, Olympic gold medalist, and then went into the WWE and took over as well. But Bret Hart, no, he was the guy. He was the guy.
Like when it came to Kurt, you got the best out of Kurt when somebody's willing to match him for energy, which was like, I feel like his best set of matches ever were his matches against Chris Benoit. And it's like, and then his matches teamed up with Chris Benoit against Edge and Rey Mysterio on SmackDown. Those, in my opinion, are like some of Kurt's best matches ever, because these are guys that match him one for one. And then if you want to see like a match where he's like, somebody's willing to go down and get dirty with him, is Brock Lesnar. Mm-hmm. And it's like, dang, you got two very two very high energy, high impact wrestlers ready to go. And it was crazy about that WrestleMania when they both went up against each other. I think they were both injured and they still wrestled that match.
Yeah. I definitely, yeah. I mean, I want us to continue this real quick, but we got to take one quick break. And then once we come back from the break, we're going to continue a little bit more about the Bret Hart and Kurt Angle debate, or more of an agreement right now, because we definitely, we're Bret Hart for sure. And then we're going to close out the show, but let us take a quick break. And we're back from the break, and we were talking about more so about the agreement about Bret Hart being having a better career than Kurt Angle. But we're just paying. I feel like this is almost going to just turn into us paying homage to Bret Hart. I just got a few things I want to say about Bret. Watching that documentary, I watched one that I believe the network A&E threw, and they've been throwing documentaries for like legends recently, and I recommend people to watch it. Bret Hart, basically, this man was at the top of the business. After Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart was the guy, and then of course the Attitude Era, Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, all of them, but Bret Hart was the guy for a while, man. And I can't say in this debate with Kurt Angle, I can't say he was the guy. he's been at the top for sure, but was he really the person running the company like that, like the main attraction? I can't say that.
For Bret, it was the issue was Vince wanted to pretty much put his faith into Bret, but he wanted to stick with his guns and go with the money. And the issue was one of the WrestleManias, Yokozuna beat Bret, and then out of nowhere, what's it called? Hulk Hogan just shows up and wins. And it's just like, what? Hogan? And it was at that moment, it was all like Vince pretty much backstabbed Bret again, because Bret had did a very, 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 very good job of trying to put athleticism first, but in putting it out in the ring versus, you know, characters and bodybuilding. And, you know, this was right after the steroid scandal, so it was just like, come on, man, how can you do this to Bret? How? And then what hurts even more that Hogan didn't even return the favor.
Oh, man.
There was supposed to be a SummerSlam match between Hogan and Bret, and it never happened.
Bret has been dogged. I ain't gonna lie. Bret's been dogged. It's kind of tough, man, because Bret Hart was that man. He deserved a lot better, man. He was at the top. He gave everything he could to Vince. But of course, it's business. So, I mean, it's two sides. We can dang near do a whole podcast about the Montreal screw job, and we can give multiple, you know, sides to all of that. But Bret Hart, man, at the end of the day, I just want to pay homage to Bret. That man is a legend. You can almost watch all of his matches and study it if you're an upcoming wrestler, or if you just want to see entertainment or just technical great wrestling. It's all Bret Hart, man. That's all Bret Hart. And then not only that, his character was amazing though. Like, he had people wanting to wear pink shades. Come on now. He had people wanting to wear pink shades. And then everybody says this quote. You can hear this in rap. You can hear this everywhere. The best there is, the best there was, and the best that'll ever will be. That's Bret Hart. Bret Hart came up with that, man. Like, this dude deserves his props. He was at the top of the business. He helped transition almost the business from being like Hulk Hogan was being the top guy, and then it went to Bret, then it went to Shawn, then it went to Austin. Like, Bret Hart was involved in all of that. Bret helped make Stone Cold. Like, come on now. He helped make Shawn Michaels. So we got to give Bret his props.
Definitely, man. Definitely. It's crazy. But the thing about it is, I wish that the WWE capitalized harder on Bret, but it's the issue is just like when he went to WCW, it was just more or less the same, and they didn't utilize him until I forgot the dude's name, but everybody hates him. But he was the only one to utilize Bret properly, or use him right in WCW. And it's weird that how we never got we didn't get like a Bret Hart showcase. If this was me, Bret would have just, in WCW, he would have just been like, all right, I'm here to expose people who can't really wrestle well. First on my list is Hogan. Then after that, cuts to Jericho in what's it called? It cuts to Jericho and Benoit talking that mess, trying to let them know, no, they're way better technical wrestlers than them. He could have had a trio rivalry going on about these guys trying to show off who's the better wrestler. Could have been that, and we didn't get it.
Yeah, we didn't get a good send off with Bret
for some reason. God dang it.
Yeah, we didn't get a good send off with Bret Hart, but hopefully Bret can understand, man. Hopefully one day we can get an interview with Bret Hart. We can pay him homage in person or just through the podcast, however we can do it.
Maybe next week we should do like a dream match scenario, Bret Hart farewell tour, and like we can pick like a bunch of dream matches that we'd like to see Bret Hart in.
Yeah, we could talk about the Montreal screw job too, because that's controversial too. Like, that's a lot with that.
Part of me almost wants to say the Montreal screw job is almost a fix. Like Bret and Vince were in on it.
Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting take. I don't believe that though, because Bret,
like, let's think of it.
Put his hands
Vince
on
couldn't
it.
Properly afford Bret, right? And Vince is all like, hey, in your best bet, you might as well go to WCW because they're gonna give you money and you get more freedom.
Hey, but Bret didn't get the good end of that deal though, because it didn't end so well with Bret. Bret could have had a lot more great matches in the WWE, and then it just didn't end well. It didn't end well. Man, dang, I wonder why we never even seen Bret Hart versus Sting. They both was in WCW. I'm like, that would have been a iconic match to me.
I think Bret Hart, no, I think it did happen. It was Sharpshooter versus Sharpshooter, and it was a pretty whack match.
I'm like, well, if that match happened and I don't know about it, then it must have been whack. Because I'm like, wait a second, Bret Hart and Sting? That just sounds like an iconic match to me. But I'm like, dang, I guess, hey, not everything's meant to be. Everything meant to be. But
Scorpion Deathlock versus the Sharpshooter. It was pretty whack.
Yeah. But shout out to Kurt Angle, Hall of Famer too, Olympic gold medalist.
Kurt Angle, the god.
Man, I just wish he had a better send-off as well. I just wish he had a better send-off.
The way I look at it, Kurt can probably still hop in the ring and do what he needs to do.
He needs one more match, because that Baron Corbin, Kurt Angle, like, that was never supposed to happen. Come on now. We know. Come on, WWE. Stop playing with me. That's why this talent don't want to go there right now. Look at that. Look how you treat Kurt. You going to end off Kurt with Baron Corbin? Like, come on, bro. Come on.
At least he was able to do it at WrestleMania. Not like a random Raw.
I'd rather seen Kurt last match been the Ronda Rousey Kurt Angle versus Triple H and Stephanie. That match was actually pretty dope, especially on that card. That was probably the best match on that WrestleMania card.
I would have loved it to be like either Kurt versus John Cena or Kurt versus like an NXT wrestler like Matt Riddle, him, and like it let that been the match to be the thing you send off on. Instead, you gave it to Baron Trash.
I would have preferred any other person. Any other person.
I'm just trying to figure out why Baron of all people, man.
I would have the perfect ending to me would have been him versus Brock Lesnar. That would have been the perfect ending.
Not John.
Or John Cena too. Like he could have went on a farewell. He went on a farewell tour, but he didn't face nobody that was like, oh my gosh. Like he should have faced John Cena. He should have faced Triple H. He should have faced Brock Lesnar. Now, it's a toss up. John Cena or Brock Lesnar. I would go with either one at WrestleMania. Like I would have went with either one.
It's crazy because at least they're treating Edge with a lot more respect. At least Edge is doing stuff.
Oh yeah.
At least Edge is around a lot more than Goldberg. So it's just like, yeah, and they're treating Edge with a lot more care and love than they did with Kurt. But then again, no, Kurt was the GM, so hey, that was dope.
But yeah, let us know what y'all thoughts are in the comment section. Who do y'all say had the better career, Bret Hart or Kurt Angle? Both are Hall of Famers, but we're both going with Bret Hart. But we have hit every topic for this week. I just want to point this out too real quick. I heard that not speaking of Kurt Angle, that the WWE is making a huge signing. They just recently signed the Olympic wrestler. I'm trying to pull up his name. Let me get his name real quick so I can, pay him homage the correct way. Because Kurt Angle was Olympic gold medalist and got signed by the WWE. And recently WWE just signed, the brother name is Gable Stevenson. He just signed with the WWE and he's an Olympic wrestler too. So shout out to Gable Stevenson. We hope to see some dope stuff from you in the future. I already know you can wrestle. So we going to see if you can translate that into pro wrestling with your character development, all that type of stuff. So we expect some big things from Gable Stevenson. We need a whole lot with the WWE. But before we go, you got any words for the people?
Hey, the best thing I can say is, hey man, don't be afraid to open up your mind and try something new. And go out there and get that experience you want. Because you only get one life, man. You only get one. So you might as well do everything in your power, or possibly in these endless possibilities, to achieve everything, or do whatever you want, man. Or go help someone else do it. Do what they want to do. Life is too precious, man. Make it happen.
Exactly. And I say the same type thing. Make sure y'all take care of yourself, take care of your mental health, your physical health, work on yourself, reach after the goals that you're trying to go after, practice unity, because at the end of the day, if you really want to reach some type of goals, you're going to have to be united It takes an army, it takes a village, it takes more than just yourself. But go after it. Stay healthy. You know, still viruses going around, so make sure you still stay protected and all that type of stuff. But this is the People's Podcast, hosted by the Wrestling Republic. For any more wrestling news, rumors, debates, and opinions, make sure you go check out WrestlingRepublic.com, along as follow their Instagram page at Wrestling Republic. But yeah, we are the People's Podcast. Tune in each week, man, and we'll see you guys next week. We out.